We've got a Broncos mock draft coming your way on today's show. But first, if you just love the NFL draft and can't wait for next month, then go ahead and like today's video to start today's show. What's going on, Broncos fans? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. It is mock draft season. Even if Denver doesn't have a first-round pick, we're still going to be a very active team when it comes to late April, early May. And so we're going to run through a mock draft on today's show just to give you a bit of a sampler, a taste of who is out there for the Broncos when their time does come up on the clock. And speaking of on the clock, first time that will be is at the end of round number 2. Thank you to the LA Rams after that Von Miller trade. So here's the entire list of all the Broncos draft picks. Rounds 2 through 7, all together, they have 8 picks in the 2022 NFL Draft. And with those 8 picks, I'd like to see them, tackle the offensive tackle spot, linebacker, edge rusher. These are some of the Broncos' biggest needs, at least in my opinion. Tight end could probably be on there too, and that's a little bit of a teaser for one of the picks I've got into today's show. So without further ado, let's get into the first pick, and I've got the Broncos selecting Abraham Lucas, the offensive tackle out of Washington State, with the final pick in round number 2 and their first pick in the NFL Draft. Let's break down Lucas a little bit. He's been flying up the draft charts lately, a very popular name in draft circles, mostly because of his size and versatility. You can move him around the offensive line, but good thing for Denver is his best spot is the right tackle position, and that is what Denver needs. 6'6", 315 pounds. I love this pick, and I'll say it again. Protect Russell Wilson. You don't trade 2 firsts and 2 seconds and 3 picks and a little bit more to get a quarterback and not have him be healthy and not have him stand upright. So invest in him. Use the first pick in the draft to make sure he's comfortable. So go ahead, get another offensive lineman, improve that offensive right tackle spot, and get yourself comfy and make sure Russ is pretty comfy in the backfield. But first, what do you guys think? Which side of the ball should George Paton draft first? Do you want to lean more offense or lean more defense? If you're thinking offense, put an O. If you're thinking defense, put a D down below. Now, when I selected Lucas in the mock draft, I did, pick him over some other guys that were pretty appetizing. Leo Chenal, the linebacker out of Wisconsin. Ngbenarni, the defensive end out of Ngambari, I think. Yeah, it's a tough one. Out of South Carolina. Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma. Nicholas Petit-Frere, that's another offensive tackle the Broncos could be looking at. And finally, Logan Hall, a nice interior defensive lineman who also can play at that defensive end spot in a 3-4 defense. But ultimately, in round number 3, I decided to go with Arnold Ebiketie. So the defensive end out of Penn State, a very athletic edge rusher who's also going to be able to help in the run-stopping department. Now, what I like about him a lot is he's going to fit well in Evero's 3-4 defensive scheme. He'll likely start just as a pass rusher. I don't think when you draft someone in the 3rd round like this, you can expect him to be an every down kind of pass rusher. But he'll come in on 3rd down, right? He'll come in obvious passing situations, and he's going to do great stuff there. Another thing worth noting, the Broncos play Patrick Mahomes twice, Justin Herbert twice, Kyler Murray, and Lamar Jackson in 2022. You can't have enough pass rushers when you're going up against all those great quarterbacks, and even Derek Carr if you want to toss him in the list, even though he's not a good quarterback. All right, we'll save the Raiders slander for another show. How about what Ebiketie did in 2021? 18 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The guy just did a little bit of everything. He's also a fantastic special teams player. He had 2 blocked field goals. He was just utilized very well, and everything he did it to the fullest. He did it to the best he could, and that was pretty darn good. So another thing that's worth noting with this pick, you notice it went edge rusher. Well, why would you do that when you got Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory? To me, this is a prove-it season for Bradley Chubb in 2022. He's entering the final year of his contract. We'll find out if he's going to be a Bronco for the next 4 years after that, or if this is the end and ultimately he walks in free agency and Denver decides, you know what, we signed Randy Gregory last offseason. We've got now a second-year player in Arnold Ebiketie. We're going to let them run rampant, and we're just not going to pay you, Chubb. Sorry, but thanks for the past couple seasons. We'll get to the rest of my mock draft picks in just a moment. But help us reach 8,000 subscribers by the NFL Draft. We have 800 and change to go. So if you haven't joined the channel already, I don't know what you're waiting for. We've got free Broncos content all year long, and we're going to be hitting you hard with draft coverage leading up into the NFL draft. So make sure you subscribe if you're looking for a spot to get the latest Broncos mock drafts, draft targets, draft news, draft rumors, anything under the sun related to the NFL draft, we got you covered. With my third round pick, I have the Broncos taking a linebacker. Tindall, the linebacker out of Georgia. You're noticing a trend here. A lot of athleticism. And this is a bit of a hybrid of things I would like to see happen and things I think Peyton will do. And he likes athleticism. And that's what Tindall can do for you. He's got excellent speed. He gets in the backfield. He can read offensive lines decently well. He needs to improve in his pass defense. And overall, his football IQ. But that's stuff you pay coaches to do. So he can help out in that department. And last but not least, when in doubt this mock draft season or just draft season in general, if you don't know who to pick, go with the guy that went to Georgia. I mean, they were so loaded on defense, he couldn't even start most of the season. However, he's a very good football player. And when you look at what he did last season when he was on the field, yeah, he made the most of his season. 5.5 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss. Tindall was a phenomenal defender for this Georgia Bulldogs defense that were, no pun intended, dogs all season long. So Broncos get a dog here, helps out in their linebacker room, works with Josie Jewell, and, is the next off-ball linebacker for the Broncos going forward. So those are all my day 2 picks in the books right there. I've got Lucas, Ebiketie, and Tindall helping out the offensive line, boosting that defense to go up against some high-powered offenses in the AFC. Moving on to day 3 here, round 4, the Broncos have picks 115 and 116. So first things first, they go Dominique Robinson, the defensive end out of Miami, Ohio. And the reason why I picked him was I sit across from our draft expert, Tom Downey. He went to Miami, Ohio, and he said he's a really good player. So I'd say less. Round 4, if you think I'm going to know these players back to front, you come to the wrong spot. But here's what I can tell you about Robinson. He's a bit of a project, okay? If you want him to come in and be your day 1 starter, not quite there yet, but he's got great size and great speed. Actually came into college as a wide receiver, put some LBS on, and bulked up, and now he's looking to be an edge rusher. Great size and phenomenal speed, 253 pounds, and ran a 4.72 at the combine. He's going to work well in that 3-4 scheme that Evero's going to continue. With 116th pick, I've got the Broncos replacing Noah Fant. Jelani Woods, a tight end out of Virginia, 44 receptions, 598 yards, and 8 touchdowns last season. And here's the thing that I love about Woods. He's 6'7", 260 pounds, so he's going to fill that pass-catching tight end need they have. Denver signed Eric Tomlinson out of Baltimore in free agency. The guy can't catch anything. He's got bricks for hands, so Woods is going to help you out there. He'll work with Alberto, and he'll be your next kind of tight end 2, maybe even take over one day as your tight end 1. As we move into day 3 here, here's my little draft opinion or, draft 101. You go best player available, right? I understand you got team needs, and maybe you don't need a quarterback. In this situation, the Denver Broncos definitely don't. But even if they're, if you only took an offensive lineman earlier, you take the best talent out there. All right, even if you're dying to get a corner, if there's no good corners, don't waste a 4th-round pick on a corner. If there is a great offensive guard, take them because you never know who's going to get hurt. This is football. You're not going to have the same 22 starters every single week of the season. Take the best player available. That's kind of my life mindset. Round 5, Denver is going to go with Haskell Garrett, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State. He's not the biggest defensive tackle, 6'2", 300 pounds, ran over a 5-second 40-yard dash, but for whatever reason, despite him being maybe a little undersized and not the fastest guy in the block, he makes it work, all right? He's always finding a way. He's got a knack to get into the backfield, disrupt run plays, and finds a way to get to the football. Nice combination of quickness and just overall football IQ. I don't got a good rhyme or reason for this, but Garrett in Ohio State last season wasn't the biggest guy, wasn't the fastest, wasn't the tallest, but he was one of the better defensive tackles in football. We're in official draft sleeper territory here, so give me your NFL draft sleeper. Let me know who's someone that no one else is looking at, but you got your eye on, and you're hoping the Mile High City scoop them up, in day 3 of the draft, rounds 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7. Let me know who your favorite sleeper is down below in the comments. Round 6, I've got the Broncos going defensive back here with Quentin Lake out of UCLA. He's going to bring in some competition at that second safety spot alongside Justin Simmons. He'll compete with Caden Stearns for that starting role. Now, if the Broncos go out and sign someone like Tyrann Mathieu, that changes things here a little bit. But despite Lake not being the fastest DB here, he's just got great field vision. And I know you can't teach speed, but this is round 6, so you're not going to find the fastest guys. But if you find guys that just have a knack for getting to the football like Lack does with his 5 career interceptions as a Bruin, you take a chance on him in the 6th round. And then in the 7th round, I'm not really sure if this was a mistake by Pro Football Network's Mock Draft Simulator, but Kalon Barnes, the guy who ran a 4.23 40-yard dash, fell to me here. So I'm not going to pass up on speed like that. He's got some knocks against him. He's known to be a little too reliant on his speed and maybe hang a little too loose on his the guys he's covering, the wide receivers, and ultimately it gets him a little burned, but he tries to, make up for it with his burning fast speed. Listen, it's the 7th round. The dude's super duper fast. I'm going to take him. So here's my final mock draft all together here. I've got Denver going Abraham Lucas to help out at right tackle. Sorry, Billy Turner. You'll be the backup most likely. Arnold Ebiketie, the defensive end out of Penn State. Channing Tindall, the linebacker out of Georgia. Dominique Robinson, a nice edge rusher as well out of Miami, Ohio. Shout out to Oxford. Jelani Woods, tight end from Virginia. Haskell Garrett, defensive tackle at Ohio State in round 5. Round 6, Quentin Lake. And round 7, the speedster, Kalon Barnes. So that's my mock draft right there. What do you think about it? Grade it for me, A, B, C, D, or F. Don't take it, don't be easy on me. If you hate it, that's fine. I've got thick-ish skin. Let me know, put an F down below. Or if you like it, maybe for my mom watching it, give me an A. Personally, I'll give it a B+. I mean, looking back at it, and I'm the one that even did my own mock draft here, I don't know if edge rusher is probably the second position they're going to draft because you've got 2 starters already in Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory. But ultimately, maybe Payton will go, you know what, there's too much talent at that position in this year's class to pass up on. And if I don't think Chubb is a part of our long-term future, and listen, I'm not going to talk about trading him for at least another 24 hours because you guys let me have it in my trade Bradley Chubb video yesterday, but you just can't guarantee anyone's future in the NFL. So that's going to do it for us here on today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed my mock draft, and we'll catch up with you guys later with the latest Broncos news and rumors.